Good morning. Welcome to Knitting Samurai Plus One video podcast. I'm your host, Steph. This is episode 88. It's spring. It's finally spring. It is pretty early on Saturday, May 3rd, and I tried to record yesterday, utter fail, and so I'm here recording with you now while the boys are still sleeping. I like to do that. I'm a morning person. You know that. I got up and got myself cleaned and ready for the day, and I really wanted to record outside, and I can't seem to make it work, and I know the lighting will be bad. Not that the lighting in here is great right now, but I really wanted to be outside, and I thought, oh, I'll compromise. I'll open the back door. So at least this way we can hear some of the sounds of spring, and maybe you can see my daffodils back there. Every year there's more and more and more. So let's see what's been going on, or should we jump into knitting? I never know which is better. I've been sick for the better part of 2 weeks. Yeah, maybe you can still hear it a little bit in my throat. Last time I recorded, it was the start of it, and it was actually yesterday was the first day. I did not take Tylenol in 2 weeks. Crazy long cold that I just couldn't kick, and both Steve and Roland got it and we're done with it in like 3 days, and I was still like, oh, all kinds of throat problems. And it's funny, I don't know if it's the pregnancy or if this is the new way that I get sick when I catch a virus, but the last 2 colds I've had have both really attacked my throat. I don't know, so like I lose my voice for several days, or I sound like a frog for, I want to say, almost the full 2 weeks. I've just been this really, really sexy, growly voice. So, yeah, so that was going on. And then yesterday I had my 35-week doctor's appointment. Well, it's close to 30. It's 35 now, but it was the end of 34. Anyways, and they couldn't find the heartbeat, so we got a surprise ultrasound. So that was fun. She was fine. The midwife and I were standing there while I was laying down, but you know, we were chatting away, and she's like, oh, this one isn't working, and she went out and got a different one of those Doppler things, I don't know what it's called, that they use. Oh, this one isn't working either, I guess we have to do an ultrasound. And so we got to watch his little heart go, and I saw his head and his body, and he's getting big, baby. Yeah, so and I know that when I was pregnant with Roland and I did the Expectant Knitter podcast, there was so much knitting, baby knitting involved in that. And if you're pregnant and you would like to follow along with what was going on with me then, it's a couple of years ago, but I almost knit exclusively for baby, like very excited, all about knitting for baby. And this time around, my projects for Thing 2 have been few and far between, as you've seen. And I would say the reason is that when I went through my, holding bin of things I had kept, there was so much stuff I knit. So he's gonna get a lot, but it'll mostly be what was Roland's. So anyways, that's my thought. It's not that I don't want to knit for this baby, because I totally do, but I have a lot. And reality of it is I like onesies a lot. So anyways, my feet are getting kind of cold. I wonder if I should put some socks on. All right, so interesting thing. It's been 10 days. Now it's been 11, and we watched Game of Thrones a couple episodes last night, so I did actually get a lot of knitting in, which means that next time I record, you won't have as much to see. Sorry, but there'll be lots of progress to show this time. But between the last episode and this episode, I actually set myself some goals of things I wanted to accomplish, and it's interesting the way that has steered my knitting choices this week. Typically, I knit what I feel like, and that's how I roll. So I'm on a sock jag, I want to knit socks, and that's what I want to do. So that's what I do. And if that means 5 projects fall by the wayside and go into hibernation, so be it. And this week I was a little concerned about my tubularity falling behind, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna get through this color before the podcast. And it really pushed me to like work on 5-10 rows a day, but don't binge, don't make myself like sick of looking at the project, so that I won't keep going, but just keep keep a steady chug on it. So that's interesting for me. I know that for some podcasters, they feel pressure to have something finished, to produce, to show. I've never felt that way at all. It's more like, oh, okay, I'm going to talk about what I've been doing, and I typically knit a lot, so there's enough to show. So anyway, it's just an interesting dynamic for me this week. I also want to tell you that the podcast was up, and then it was down, and then Wednesday or Thursday, Quiet Caroline got in touch with me and said, hey, the podcast isn't there. Like, I know it's on your blog, but it's not showing in iTunes. You might want to check on it. So I did, and it was down, and so I got it back up. But that means that there was almost a week there where the podcast wasn't showing as live to people, and it was showing as live on mine. I don't know. I hate you, Blip. Because Blip handled everything, and now they don't, and so I'm not an IT person, so I do my best, but these hiccups make me crazy. So I had been running the most interesting pair of socks knit contest, and I'm wondering if a few people did not see the episode and know that there is a chance to win prize yarn and go enter. So we're gonna let that contest run an extra week. So I will close the thread on May 9th. I think that's whatever the Thursday is. May 8th or Friday, Thursday or Friday, before I record next, and then I'll do a prize drawing, okay? And up for the winner is to choose a skein of Into the World Club yarn. So these are the two most recent ones. This is March, this is April, this is, what's that? What's this? What's this? Don't you love that? I've shown you this before. And then this one is Horse with No Name. And this was a 75-25 blue face Luster nylon, and this is an 80-20 superwash merino nylon. So go put up a picture of the most interesting, memorable, crazy socks that you've ever knit, and that'll get you in for a prize drawing. Winner chooses. So that's going on. I'd also like to get a knit along going in the very near future before I go out on maternity craziness. Because who knows what I'll be knitting or how frequently I'll be knitting during that time. So I'm not sure what to do, so I have to think about that. But I want to do something, so get a bit more community going in the group. So if you have any ideas you want to share, feel free. And of course, I'm always happy to have prizes and do giveaways and stuff. So that being said, I think it's time to talk about the knitting and what's on my needle. So let me just shuffle some things here. Take a sip of my coffee, my one coffee. And where to start? Everything was all packed up because I did do it on location recording. That didn't turn out so well. Okay, so I did turn off some of the sound features on the camera, so hopefully it'll be better than it has been in the past. I didn't want to turn off the autofocus function because I do like that it, you know, zooms in and whatnot. But I know that it can make noises when it does those things, so, and I didn't realize that you guys could actually hear it. I know I can hear it, but whatever. So hopefully it will be better. And if it's not, let me know. I'm gonna always change things. So I have been working on my oldest anything. So my oldest skein of Regia. So you will remember this stuff. I went, you know, we've been talking about that I'm not so in love with Regia anymore, and so I thought I'd try the oldest Regia in my stash, and I would double dip and use it for the What You're Swatchin' podcast. Knit along for your oldest, whatever. So this is yarn I bought in July 2009. It is Regia Galaxy Color, and it is color 1559. I don't know if it's available, probably in D-Stash. My guess is it's discontinued. And I was just like on fire knitting these, right? Because they made these really cool, do you see them? The C shapes. Really cool geometric patterning in the yarn, and I thought that was just awesome. So it's like self-striping, but not really. Maybe it's like failed self-striping. It probably was. Whatever. But yeah, and so I was going, and I wanted to do something kind of different because that's one of my intentions for this year, is to do heels, do some different constructions in my socks. And so I looked at the Turtle Girl tutorial on how to, it's not a video, it's a blog posting on how to do the double gusset in the heel, but her instructions were for cuff down. And so I thought, I'd toe up sock knitter exclusively. And so I thought, well, let me just wing it and see what I think of it. So 2x2 rib going up. So see, here's the socks so far. All right, going up. And I just did double gussets, increases at the center of the bottom of the foot. And it seemed fine to me. And then when I got to the heel part, I just turned it the way I would normally turn a heel and did the heel flap construction that I'm used to doing. They fit okay. I'm not real wild about them. If they feel a bit bumpy in through here, so you can see that it doesn't really lay flat. And I don't know. You know, I've been knitting socks forever, and I do like that it's more contoured the way that your foot. Hey, Linus, you want to be on the show, baby? I haven't been on the show in ages. That it's more contoured the way your foot is actually shaped. So, but I think I think that last one was maybe too close to where the heel turn went in, or if I were to do it again, maybe I'll do this on the second one. I'll keep that same, I won't do a double, I'll do a single gusset increase so that the lines line up with the edges of my hip flap, which is more like the Capwordy riverbed construction. And I used to love that. I used that forever, and then I stopped using it because there was a little more math versus autopilot on my standard, you know, side gusset increases. So, and then the other thing that I did with these was I have a pair of socks. They're Nutkins, which the way I knit that pattern for some reason caused them to be askew. And so when you are biased, so when I wear them, they kind of twist off to one side. And even though they do that, so it can be odd on your foot, like you're aware that you're wearing socks that do that. They're one of my favorite pairs, one of my older favorite pairs. And so, well, why do I like these so much? And thinking about it, it's the cuff height. And so I pulled them out of my sock drawer, measured the cuff height and the rib, and they're shorties. So I decided to make these shorties as well, because that's great for spring and fall, right? And that's what I want to wear around the house. You know, I like my big tall socks for going out in my dance coats and with my jeans, but around the house, this is more the length I like. So I did that. I did, I think, 1.5 inches a leg, and then I switched from 2x2 rib to 1x1 rib, knit through the back loop so that it would have nice stitch definition in there. So first one is off the needles, and the second one, got a bit of knitting last night while watching Game of Thrones. Don't you love that show? I read the first, oh, Linus is in the bathroom scratching on the cabinets. That's what that sound is. I read the first 3 or 4 of his books, and I couldn't do it anymore, and so I just stopped reading it. But watching this season, my crazy cat, is making me really want to know what's gonna happen. Like, it'd take forever in the show. But anyways, I don't know why that's related, but there you go. And so here's the second one, how much I have so far. And I am using US Zeros 2.0 millimeter needles, my standard needles. And that's that. There we go. And my Stitch by Just Blue bag. Sorry, coughing. I'm gonna try and get them all out, but I might not be successful. So I'm also working to knit 14 pairs of socks this year, and so this is 5. This is the 5th pair, right? And so I'm starting to, and within that parameter, right, there's gift socks and there's 12 self-stripings. So I'm trying to do that as well. And this doesn't look very pretty, but I wanted to make sure that it was a self-striper, so I pulled out a bunch from the center. Oh my God, crazy cat. Well, it's good. You haven't seen him, so he's excited to see you. Linus. Would you believe that that's a 9-year-old boy? 9 or 10. And he is a Devon Rex, in case you were curious. Like, that is a funky looking cat. My allergies can tolerate him. And his big brother, Mac. But anyways, so confirmed that this is a self-striper, and it is luxury socks. I think I got it at Joann. It's another one of those, you know, workhorse, less expensive yarns. But I really like the pink and orange. I'm totally feeling that this spring. Like pink and orange. Those are the colors I want to knit with. Maybe it's because my spring coat is like hot orange. Coral. It's kind of like that. So maybe I'm feeling like this need to wear those colors. Anyways. Also, on the sock front, maybe I should just do a sock knit along. No, because really I've been knitting other things, and I've been motivated to knit other things, because I told you I was going on a jag, but I haven't exclusively been on a jag. So in this bag, you will find, you would have found in February 2010, some sock toes. So at that point I was crazy sock knitter. And my mom saw me and she wanted to knit some socks too, but she didn't want to do any of the crazy paying attention. She basically just wanted to knit in the round. So I was like, all right, well, I can enable you. I'll cast on the toes, I'll do the heels, I'll do the bind off for you. The heels are my favorite part, toes are my second favorite part, and bind off, no big deal. So I put together this little kit for her with 2 sets of needles with toes cast on, with some Patton's Croy, and here's one of them. And I wrote up a little, here's some instructions, Mom. You know, knit until you have 6.5 inches, 32 stitches on each needle. You could do either a 2x2 rib, or you could do 2x2x2x2, and then leave 16 stockinette in the middle, and then do some ribbing on the sides, you know. And I put this cute little care package together for her, handed it over. She was all excited, and then it spent a year at her house, and she never knit with it. So then the bag came back to me, and my sister-in-law, one of my sister-in-laws, wanted to knit socks. And so I said, oh, I've got toes, let me give you one. And so she and I started working on them together, you know, each took one, and I got her going, and so she took it. So now I have 1 sock toe in yarn, and she has 1 sock toe in yarn, and that I think was around the time Roland was born. She hasn't done anything with them. I know. I make knitting look easy, and the people in my life want to do it, and it is easy, but it's not for everybody, right? You know that. So I don't want to ask her to give me back the sock toe, but I also was looking at my hibernating socks and thinking, what can I do? What can I free up? I have a whole bin of, out in the garage, the UFO bin, and it's ridiculous, and they're cute project bags. I want to knit so many pairs of socks this year, and if I can finish them half started, that's one way to do it. So I found these and 2 other pairs. One, the foot was finished on the first sock, and the other one, the whole first sock is completed, and they're just sitting out there. So I moved them into the living room closet where my active knitting stuff is, so that I could, you know, work on them. And the other 2 pairs, well, all 3 of them are stripings, so it's just a win-win-win-win-win-win-win situation here if I could get those done. So I picked this guy up, and I decided to do something different than the usual 2x2 ribbing. I went with the ribbing on just the outside of the foot, and I thought I'll do it on the outside tops, and then when I get to the leg, I'll do it up the sides of the leg is what it'll translate to. And so it'll still cinch in a bit, but just a little bit more stockinette than my standard sock. Because these were cast on in 2010. Am I reading you right? Yes, February 2010. That's when I was using larger sock needles. And so these are on 1.5, 2. I don't know off the top of my head, 2.5 millimeter needles. Yeah, and it's fine, because in my mind the Patton's Croy is typically more towards a sport weight yarn. So I cast on, and I just in the evening did that much. So I was really pleased with how fast these are knitting. Like, I totally wanted to Instagram it and be like, look, they knit themselves. But you are probably remembering now that I said I only had 1 skein, and these are not big skeins. I think they're, well, I can tell you if I look at a ball band, they're want to say like 160 yards each. So that's definitely not enough to make a pair. So knowing that the Croy Sock Effects is still very popular, and I had my tag, I thought, well, let me see. Let me go to Joann's and see if I can get it. So can't get the same dye lot, but I got the same colorway as that I have. And so here's my plan. I'm going to do the first part of the foot until I see what the striping sequence is and really get a feel for it. So probably up to about here with the original yarn. And then I'll alternate rows in through the heel and switch to the new skein. And finish the rest of the leg with the new skein. And then I'll cast on the second sock and try and make them match, because I do like things to match, and do the exact same process again. So fingers crossed it's gonna work. Looks to me like there's a section right here that is yellowed, you know, it's brown green. Seagulls, did you hear the seagulls? Yeah. It's like a brown green, a blue green, a yellow green. So I think if I can line up that yellow section, that would be the best place that has the highest contrast to my eye, so I can really notice it when I get there in the skein. So that'll be the easiest spot to switch. So we'll see. Also, does this look self-striping to you? I'm not sure if it is or isn't. I mean, the yarn is definitely changing color, but it is definitely a gradual color change. So maybe when I finish the full sock, I'll get the effect a little more. But this is the same yarn, and you've seen it everywhere as like the monkey sock yarn. So, and I did a red brown, not red brown, a pink gray pair for Steve's grandmother. The same yarn a year ago probably. Anyways, I gave them to her for her birthday this past year, and she was so excited to have them. But like very specific color stripe breaks. And so this one is much more subtle. So we'll see. We'll see how it turns out, but I tell you, it is knitting itself using those big needles and fat yarn. So that feels really good to me to be working on that. And yeah, I'm just excited. As always, I'm always excited. When am I not excited? Oh, I'll tell you when I'm not excited. When I'm on location and I'm recording and I have 3 batteries for this camera, and I left one at home and the other 2 were both dead. I was a little angry. Angry there. The beaded Fair Isle hat. So let's see. Let me look in my bag. This is a bag that one of my girlfriends had made me. Cute cat bags. Yep. A bag to hold the bags. This is not woven in. Yeah, I guess we're okay. So this is my beaded Fair Isle hat. I can't see myself, so we're just gonna wing it. By who is this by? Laura Irwin from Boutique Knits. Gosh, I love that book. And this is Dragonfly Fibers Traveler in Ruby, that's the red. And then the blue self-striping, blue-gray self-striping yarn is 3 Years Twisted in Fiber, Shepherd DK, and Galactic Storm. I knit this on US size 7, 4.5 millimeter needles. I haven't woven in my ends. So the pattern ends here. That's where the crown decreases were supposed to start. And I added in an extra, I think 15 rows to try and accomplish a slouchy hat. I didn't accomplish a slouchy hat, but it fits me, right? And so it doesn't have the desired look I wanted, but I think it looks pretty good nonetheless. So really love working with both of these yarns. I think it came out so nice. Really happy with it. I have knit thing 2. Oh, Mac, are you okay, honey? Sorry, he jumped. He hit things he wasn't expecting. I have knit thing 2, you'll remember the pear hat, golden pear hat, which was teal with the red as the contrast, and the teal is definitely more of a green color than this, but I think we'll be really cute together. We'll look like we're almost matching, contrasting. So that's done. Off my needles, fun knit as always. There's a pattern in there for a cable headband, and I actually like wearing headbands, so it's like the form headbands. Does that make sense to you? I don't know what they're called, but they have the hard plastic inside them, and you put them on. So there's a pattern to knit, like basically a cover to go over that, and it has pretty cables on it, and I think that would be really nice. But I want to knit it in gray. And then I'm like, well, why am I going to put a gray strip across my head? I don't know. I don't know if it makes sense. I've wanted to knit it since I got the book, and I haven't yet, and it's been several years, so chances are it's not going to happen. But one can dream. So that's off the needles. I alluded to my Tubularity by Martina Bem, and now I will show it to you. So this is mostly Miss Babs Yowza yarn, and I've made a good bit of progress. I love seeing everybody's finished projects out there. People are flying through this, and honestly, I don't know how you do it. You have to really love knitting stockinette. And I realized the other day that I could be knitting a sweater, a fingering weight sweater, for the amount of stitches and time that this is going to take. But I am persevering through it, even though I'm not real wild about it, if that makes sense. So you can see I started with this lovely green. That's Jill Draper Splendid Sock Stuff. It's in the show notes. Spinach colorway. And then I moved into Miss Babs Zombie Prom. And then I moved into Miss Babs Impatience, and that was the one that I knit this week, this past. So I finished all the purple, which is very fun to knit. And then I added in some Inspiration Dye Works. This is her Cooper Beach in the Fluffy Plus space, and for the orange. And then the next color is going to be the most beloved skein of yarn I own, which is Deep Sea Jellyfish by Miss Babs. And then Impatience. Impatience with a C or Impatient with a T. One is C, one is T. Of the two purples, I don't know which one's which, but there you go. So that's how that's going. I am knitting this on US size 3. Yes, 3.25 millimeter needles. And I think I measured it, and yeah, it was 30 inches long when I wrote my show notes. And I think it needs, so at this point, where's the long end? That's the long end. It wraps. I could finish and wear it like that if I wanted, but I need some more. So I'm gonna keep going, but I'm halfway there. So definitely a slog. I don't know why I did this. I honestly don't. It is very atypical knitting for me, not something I would have chosen had I not thought about it, and cast on immediately. It was like, it came out, I saw it, I cast on. And so now I'm working through it, and I'm gonna finish. So that's going on there. I know. I wish I could be more excited about it, but it is what it is, and it'll get done. And then lastly, I cast on with Rhinebeck yarn. So I'm trying to use it up. I don't know if it was the pattern that drove me to the yarn, or, oh yeah, it was the yarn. I was trying to find something to knit from, for Roland that then could be handed down to Thing 2. And I have this gorgeous skein of Miss Babs Yowza in the Berlin colorway, which is, I think, 550 yards. Now big enough that 500 yards is not enough to knit him a sweater. I think it might have been when I bought this yarn last year at Rhinebeck. And yeah, so I started looking at, well, what are some patterns that that are connected to the Yowza yarn. And I saw this cowl called the Denver Cowl by Veronica Parsons, and I think it might be knit in this exact colorway, or it's a very similar colorway, and it was designed to pair with Miss Babs colors, her dyeing technique. So I thought, oh, that sounds cool. And it's one of those long infinity cowls, and I've wanted one, but I haven't cast one on. So yeah, let's do it. So I cast it on using both ends because it's a lot of stitches. This is a free pattern over on Rav. US size 8s, 5 millimeter needles. And cast it on, and I started. And it was like, okay, let me just go. And so each row is pretty long. It takes a while to get through it. It's a slog. Yeah. And I followed the pattern, and then I thought I knew the pattern. And so there's ribbing for a couple inches, and then there's 4 rows at close to 300 stitches each, somewhere around there. There are 4 rows. The first 4 rows of the pattern, I thought I had translated it right in my brain, and I missed a step. Like, I missed part of the repeat. You're supposed to purl as part of the repeat, and I thought it was just purl the last stitch. And it was only when I had put it down and then came back to it and then refreshed myself on the pattern that I went, oh, And for once in my life, I left it. I never leave anything. Like, but the thought of ripping back all of those stitches for a highly variegated yarn that you can't really see the pattern. It's just about making this bubbly texture. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna keep going. I'm gonna say la 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 and see how different it looks versus doing some in pattern. So then I did another, I think 4 rows with the correct pattern. And I can tell the difference, but I don't think anyone but me will be able to tell the difference. Like even a knitter would have to sit down and study it to see it. So I'm just gonna keep going. So I've got about 2 inches onto this, and I think it's just stunning. So, how's it? Yeah, because that gives you a whole sense of nothing. But yeah, I think it's great. So this is Berlin, is the colorway. It's the Denver Cowl, and it's yarn I bought at Rhinebeck. So I think of this as like, oh, the many places here. But yeah, so this is my like, use my brain a little bit knitting, but not too much. So highly recommend it. You should check it out if you're looking for an infinity cowl to make. And you have a skein of Yowza. I have quite a bit, not quite a bit, I probably have 3 single skeins of Yowza that I would like to use. So depending on how well this goes and how sick of it I get, it may be a Christmas present, but I'm excited to be working on one of my Rhinebeck yarns and getting through that. So that is it for active projects on the needles. I know, for shame, the Vivid is still hibernating and the baby is getting closer and closer and closer, but I'll get there. I'll get there. And I think that's all I have to tell you, you know. I'm not really planning anything new right now. I want to keep working on those socks and get through the tubularity, and next week I should be through the orange section. That's my goal. So each color block, I counted it out, is 60 rounds. So if I just do 10 a day in 6 days, I'm done. So that's the plan. That's the plan. So I hope you have a great 10 days or so. Or no, it's probably going to be less because I'm going to record next Friday. Until I see you again, and enjoy what's going on in your knitting work. Take care. Bye.